But yeah, I got confused as to what time it or what day it was. And then yesterday I spent my whole day watching really trashy TV on Netflix and playing Baldur's Gate on my evil playthrough. And I watched The Ultimatum, which is so trashy and horrible. It's so trashy. I like to watch Love is Blind because it's horrible. Love is Blind is got who is it? Nick someone and his wife Vanessa, and they're both fucking horrible, and they did an experiment where they dated without seeing each other or something like that. So Love is Blind is basically there's like I want to watch Love is Blind Japan too. I'm sure that one's actually like nice, but the American one is like so trashy. And it is where people date each other without seeing each other, and then they have to propose to each other at the end of the time. Like, as when they see each other for the first time, they have to propose. I do need to watch Mountain Monsters. Some of the contestants are suing the show, I think, for mistreatment. Well, the edits of them are bad. Propose is an actual proposal, yeah. And then they have to spend, like, a few weeks together or something as like engaged people, and then decide at the altar they say whether or not they're saying yes or no. It's so trashy, but it's so good. And some of the people on the show are so fucking horrible. It's so bad. It's so stupid. But now they drink so much on the show that it actually worries me. It's so bad. There was one where this guy was like, he was like, oh my gosh, you know, he's talking to this girl through a wall and they can't see each other. And he's like, you know, growing up, my family was poor and my dad died and my mom got sick or something like that. He was telling this like super heartfelt story. And then the girl on the other side was doing fucking jumping jacks. And he goes, are you listening to me? And she's like, yeah, I'm listening. And I was like, this girl's doing a whole workout while this guy's pouring his heart out. And then there was another one where the guy was talking to the girl and he was like, you know, I feel such a connection with you. Like, I think you're my person, blah, 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 blah. And he's talking to her and she falls asleep. And then he says her name, like, if her name's Tiffany, he's like, Tiffany? She doesn't say anything. And he goes, Tiffany? And she doesn't say anything. So he thinks that she walked out and was saying no. So then they had to go on they had to have another date where she went in there and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I literally fell asleep while you were telling me that. It's so bad. Like, Love is Blind is like so trashy, but it's fun to have on while you're doing something else. But the other one that I've been watching that I binged yesterday, which I skip some, if it's cringe, if something cringe is happening or someone is like really terrible and I don't like them, I skip the segment where they're in because I'm like, I can't fucking handle this person. So, oh my gosh, Elliot, have you watched them too? They're so good. It's all cringe. A lot of it is cringe. So I've been watching The Ultimatum, and then I'm watching, today I started the Ultimatum queer one, which is like a lesbian one. Elliot does it too. Oh my God. Sean's eyes were way too creepy for me. Was it Sean? There was also like that one guy that looked like he was on fucking cocaine. Alpega mutes the cringe parts. There was like the coked out guy that was like dating the queer one was so dramatic. The one thing that I do like about it so far is that everyone on there is very good talking about their feelings. The one thing I don't like about it though is that apparently there are people on there that use they them pronouns and the show doesn't specify, so you have to like look it up yourself, and also everyone's misgendering them in the show. I've been watching the American version of Love Island, which is just the lowest form of television. Yes. But this one, The Ultimatum, is like there's people in a relationship, right? And one person has given the other person an ultimatum, and they're like, I want to get married right now. Yes or no? And the person says, I don't know. So they go on this show. This is like the worst way to solve this problem, right? Hesselberg, thank you so much for the 31 months. Hope you're having a good idea. No, Fav, it gets worse, okay? So a couple goes on this show. One person, I have to wash my hair tomorrow because it's starting to get greasy no matter how much dry shampoo I'm putting in it. So this couple will be like, one of them wants to get married and maybe have children right away or like do something like that, right? And the other person is not sure for whatever reason, financial reasons, like they've only been dating 2 years and they're in their early 20s. All of those things are very common on the show, right? So then here's what you do on the show. You go on the show and there are like a bunch of other couples that are in the same position, and you break up with the person that you're there with, that you came there with. You break up and then you all date each other, and you either you pick someone to spend 3 weeks with as if you're married to them, a new person, and then it's so that you can experience like a different person and decide if your person is right for you and learn things. It's the fucking worst idea. If someone said that to me, I'd be like, there's no fucking way I would do that. There's no way. So like they go on the show, they pick someone else, and then they do 3 weeks with that person. In one of the seasons I watched, one of the couples that separated and like they chose each other to spend 3 weeks with, they were fucking so much. And it's like, you're not really like supposed to. You're like supposed to just kind of like date them a little bit. But then the old boyfriend came back and he's like, what's this gold box? And it was filled with sex stuff. And she's like smiling and laughing. She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't want you to find that. And I'm like, I would be fucking outie 5,000. I'd never do this in the first place, because there's no fucking way that if someone was like, do you want to marry me? And I was like, no. And they're like, okay, well, can we go on this television show where we date other people? I'd be like, no. Or if vice versa, if I said I want to get married, and I don't think ultimatums are ever good. Like, well, I guess there's like some instances where they are, but I don't think forcing someone to have to make a decision is like great ever, because there should be like communication and compromise in a lot of things. Me doing this all to like these positive steel drums. I'm on episode 3 of the queer one, Shady Cat, and I already know they'd be boning, because here's what else I do while I watch these shows. I open the subreddit for it, and I open the mega thread post, and then I go through the episode by episode discussion, and I read things about the episode while it's happening, and I'm like, boy, yeah.